Coming up on Guys Talking Sports, we talk Pete Rose in Major League Baseball. We talk Rajon Rondo and the NBA. We also talk about the NFC East and the NFL. We also talk about Serena Williams and American Pharoah. My guest host, Adrian Catwell and Earl Ross, joins me now, and that's on Guys Talking Sports. What's going on, everybody? This is Guys Talking Sports, and I'm your host, Al Qualls, and welcome you to another edition of Guys Talking Sports. Got my guest hosts with me, Adrian Catwell and Earl Ross. So, fellas, what's going on, man? How you guys doing?
Feeling lovely and breezy.
Enjoying this unusually warm weather here in the DMV, but outside of that, living large and in charge.
That's what's up. All right, so we're just going to get started. We're going to talk about the things that's going on in the world of sports this week. And I guess we should start with, I know we'll get into the Rajon Rondo real and stuff in a minute, but I just want to get your take on the Pete Rose situation. Of course, he found out that based on the evidence and the conversation that Pete Rose will not be, of course, be readmitted to go into the Hall of Fame. So real quick, I just want to get your guys' take on that.
I guess me being a lover of baseball, it's kind of unfortunate, for everything that Pete Rose has done. But, I guess when you take into consideration what he did gambling in baseball and how it's, that's such a no-no in the baseball world. You don't bet on the sport that you're actually playing. And I guess that would go hand in hand with all sports. I guess that's the reason why Jordan left to go play baseball there for a hot minute. But I guess people were just frowning upon the fact that, despite all that, Pete Rose still hasn't stopped betting on baseball, even though, he's not kind of tied to baseball at the moment. But still kind of unfortunate. Would like to see him get in there because just who he is and all that he's accomplished. But, I mean, he's still getting paper. He's still getting that money. He's still involved in baseball some way, some shape or form. So, though he may not be in the Hall of Fame, folks will never forget who he is. So, I guess it's just a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I guess, I'm not the baseball aficionado, so I will, defer to Adrian on this one per se. But it's unfortunate, but I guess it's a mess of his own creating. I mean, he's proven himself from reports to be a pathological liar and lied, time and time again, even when he got caught red-handed and everybody said, well, just, admit to what you did, slap on the wrist, admit that you bet on baseball, we'll move on from there, and then everything would have been gravy. But he, denied, and only admitted when he thought there was a glimmer of a chance that he might get, reinstated to the point where he could be, eligible for the Hall of Fame. But like Adrian said, I mean, everything's done for the sport, all-time hits leader, and, playing for, two cities and two teams, and there's definitely rules number-wise should be in the Hall of Fame. But, he, like you said, he admittedly at one point saying he was still betting on baseball. So how can, the new commissioner, and I guess he gave him his fair shake, his fair due, but he basically just told him that you're not getting reinstated under any kind of baseball operations where you could, be a detriment to the game. I mean, he can show up at different events, sign, autographs, look at the paper. But as far as anything baseball-wise goes, he's just going to be on the outside looking in. And you would have thought after all this time, somebody might have, at least, I guess in the way that the story there where you have Mark McGwire, Roger Clemens, and other guys who are going to be, admitted to at least being eligible to be put on that ballot to be picked for the Hall of Fame. And yet he can't even get that. And these guys have admitted doing steroids and everything else, but yet he's still on the outside looking in. And at this point, will never, unless somebody comes in and decides to drastically change how the Hall of Fame does stuff, he'll never get that opportunity.
Right. And they're not changing that no time soon, unless that commissioner, unfortunately, untimely passes away and somebody does something real soon I doubt it's going to change.
Agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I it's kind of funny that he still is admitting to the fact that he's still doing it today. It makes me wonder whether or not that's something that he wants to. At this point, does he really care about getting into the Hall of Fame? Because, like the commissioner said, like basically it was more about seeing if he would change his ways. And once he realized that he didn't do that, of course he said no, of course. But it's kind of unfortunate that we're living in a time now where, with so much sports betting and gambling going on right now, that this is still a hiccup for Pete Rose. But at the end of the day, I don't know if he. It kind of makes me wonder whether or not he really cares about it at all at this point. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure he's like, if they're not going to accept me, or do anything now to change it, why should I change my ways? So, it is kind of unfortunate that the accomplishments that he's done in Major League Baseball, that he cannot be recognized in the Hall of Fame. But he did what he had. He did what he did. So, at this point.
He chilling.
Yeah, he's chilling. It ain't like he's blatant about. It's not blatant, but he's in Vegas. He's already saying he's doing it on a regular basis. So he like, yo, why am I going to change? It's not like they're going to let me in. I don't know if he figures whether or not they're going to let him in. I don't know. It just seems like. To me, it seems like a non-issue if he's already saying I'm past that and I'm still going to do me.
Yeah, I think if this was years ago, if this was some kind of thing that kind of tell all future players and managers don't bet on baseball, you're going to get the quote unquote death penalty. I think after all these years, I think they got the players have gotten the idea. However, I think it's still a situation where if he's not going to get in because his betting was a detriment to the integrity of the game, then I would hope that you might as well, for anybody in that steroid era, even though it wasn't quote unquote illegal, but to me that's still damage to the integrity of the game if you're going by that process. So if you can't get in, nobody from the steroid era should get in. But if you're going to eventually down the road allow those guys to get in, say like Mark McGwire, in my opinion, taking the steroids, all-time home run hits leader and everything. If he gets in, Roger Clemens gets in, all the other guys get in, Barry Bonds, then there's a case to be made to at least allow Roger Clemens, allow Pete Rose to get on the ballot and let the writers decide whether they want to put him in or not.
I agree with you. But baseball is fickle. There we go. Baseball is fickle.
Fickle.
Because it's the one sport that relishes on the past of the all-time game. It takes its stats and its records is about as serious as any sport there is out there. They don't want anybody or having any sort of an advantage, whether it be gambling, whether it be steroids, whether it be HGH. They take those things so seriously. So though those who admitted to steroids or whatever, they might end up on the ballot, it's going to be a long time, if ever, that they'll sit there and allow those individuals to be put into the Hall of Fame. For example, Barry Bonds, he got exonerated from his charges. He proved in court that he did not take any type of illegal enhancing drugs.
Or knowingly, as he put it.
Right. Just looking at the man, you can tell he took something. But, but because it's the eye test a lot of times. It's a lot of different things, but as long as they have a hunch that they went in there and did what they did, then they'll never allow those individuals to be in the Hall of Fame. Is this crazy? Is this really crazy like that?
Yeah, they'll be eligible, but they'll never get put in. I mean, some people have made cases why they should put asterisks by it, or if you're going to allow them in, saying, okay, this person was in the Hall of Fame. However, during these years, he used, he used steroids. At least that got them put on the ballot. Then I don't know. You're right. They're finicky, and I mean, if you're not going to allow him, then don't allow anybody who, in my opinion, you know, damaged the integrity of the game, whether it was, quote unquote, written illegal or not.
Yeah, and a lot of that falls on to baseball itself. The last to come to the table, if we're just talking about steroids and illegal hands, hands of drugs, was the last to come to the table as far as enforcing drug use and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can't fault a player for taking something that technically was not illegal or technically not something that was banned from the sport. So if you're telling me we have no type of drug program or anything that states I can't take this, why am I being penalized? Because it didn't say I couldn't, and they said in the past in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, those players were taking speed or whatever type of hallucinogen at the time or whatever type of drug it was back then to enhance them. So I've heard. I can't say that's a yay or nay, but you know, if they would have just came to the table up front and said this is the way it's going to be, then they wouldn't have had these issues.
Yeah, but everybody was making money hand over fist. I mean, you had the players that were taking this stuff, to A, either get, to recuperate faster, or to B, get those large, paychecks that were out there. And B, C, you had, major leagues that was making money hand over fist when you had that home run derby going on.
Oh,
Why
I
they
agree.
want to? Why would they, in their opinion, want to rock the boat when they're making millions upon millions with all these guys knocking off all these home runs? Not until they had to get pulled in front of Congress, kicking and screaming, did they actually do anything. And the biggest culprit out of all of them that got away was the last commissioner.
Oh yeah. Okay, but I mean, if it wasn't for the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire thing going on right after that strike, baseball was headed down a real treacherous type of waters because it revitalized the sport. And baseball wasn't about to let that one little issue kind of hinder them at the moment. They were going to ride that wave to get some popularity back because football then came into its own. They had to get some sort of something in there to make it seem like they got their footprint back.
Yeah,
And
they held their nose about the whole thing all the way to the bank.
yeah, I agree. And then when it came back and bit them in the ass, and then Congress is getting involved and all these black eye, straight up black eye for the sport.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that it'll ever get to a point where they start banning people that uses performance enhancing drugs, like they did, sort of almost similar to like the gambling?
Dude, baseball got the toughest steroid policy in sport. First time offense, I think they miss half a season. The
Oh,
second,
it's
wow,
25 games.
oh, that was the original one. Then
Uh,
they redid it. It's half a season for the first offense, a full season for the second offense, and you out of the sport if you get caught 3 times. Even football doesn't do all that. you got to do a whole bunch before they'll sit there and kick you out the sport itself. And even if you get kicked out, you have the opportunity to come back after a year or at the commissioner's expense. Baseball will ban you. You cannot come back if you get caught a third time.
Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, that I'm talking about from the Hall of Fame perspective. Um, of course, if they're at that point right now, if they was at that point right now, I mean, before with gambling, do you think they'll ever get to that point for the Hall of Fame in baseball for PEDs?
I don't think so because they would have said it already. I mean, if they're I think people are probably going to get banned without being officially banned. They'll just never get, voted in. You'll get eligible, but no sports writer right now is ever going to really, give him that vote. He might have a few here or there, but overall, right now, no.
I doubt it. Like I said before, baseball prides themselves in statistics, records, pride, legacy, all that type of crap. I doubt they're going to let a certain few individuals ruin the actual legacy is what's called a national pastime. Unless it's some God forgiving something or the other that just comes down and say, well, you know what? It's because of a loophole of some sort that, we can allow them with some sort of asterisk. I doubt it'll ever happen. At least not in our lifetime. Not in ours.
Well, like I said, that's something that I guess will probably be a debate down the road. But like you said, right now everything seems to be where it is, the status quo, and it's going to continue to be that way. I guess unless something major happens, and that's if something major happens when it comes to PEDs and baseball in general, and how the Hall of Fame is portrayed down the road. But let's get ourselves out of baseball for now, and of course let's talk about what is going on in the NBA, and of course that's with Rajon Rondo and the situation he did with the situation. He's been suspended for one game for basically calling out a ref. I believe it's Bill Kennedy, if I'm not mistaken, for calling Bill Kennedy and the F word over F word to the point that he revealed that he was openly gay. Basically, he was calling Rajon Rondo got upset and was calling the ref a faggot. And in actuality, it turns out that he is actually an openly gay person. So I just want to get y'all guys' thoughts on the whole Rajon Rondo situation.
You can't let your emotions get the best of you in that situation. I mean, we're in a time where this type of people are who they are. This ain't the 50s or the 60s. This is the new millennium, 2000, about to be 2016. People are living their lives how they see fit, and people are going to live their life the way they want to. And we as a people just have to accept that if somebody wants to be homosexual or somebody wants to be transgendered, that this is the life that we're living in, and the lifestyle that these people are living in, and then we just have to accept that, whether we like it or not. You keep that to yourself. You go behind your closed doors and you talk to whomever you want to talk to privately about that situation, but you can't express yourself like that in public and don't think you're not going to see some type of reprimand.
No, and I mean, you all play basketball, you play football. I mean, all kinds of things get said on the court and on the football field, and but I mean, when you start directing it towards refs and using those kind of, derogatory statements, to those guys,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't. And when you're on the NBA field like that, I mean, NBA court like that, you are representing the shield. So when you say stuff like that and it gets out, I mean, you have to be very cognizant of what you're doing and being very aware of where you're saying stuff like that. I mean, am I trying to, absolve him from what he said? No, but he has to be very, like you said, he has to keep his, emotions in check and be very wary of what you're saying, who you're saying it to, and he gave a half-hearted apology. Then he did a tweet and another apology. I think he got suspended one game. Probably should have been a couple more, but you just you can't roll like that. In the same note, like I said, we've all played ball, we've all played football. We know all kinds of stuff gets said on the court. Now I've heard it, you've heard it, Ace, Al. I mean, we've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying it is right, but you have to, when you're on that stage representing the NBA brand, need to be able to, manage your emotions. And Rondo has never been one that manages emotions at all.
But I mean, even that, bigger than that, people scream stuff all the time. On a football field, yeah, they have those super powerful microphones that can catch words and stuff like that. But a lot of times, jokers on a football field are saying something face to face when they're, they got the face mask and the helmet kind of blocking them, but they can still talk their smack. But on the NBA court, the cameras are right there, the mics are right there. The court is only but so big. The ref is standing 5 feet away from you, or it's 10 feet away from you. It's not like you could just say you're XYZ in front of somebody and expect for that person to hear it. You really got to scream it. And of course, if there's mics there, it's going to get picked up. And even bigger than that, in basketball, people can tend to read people's lips a lot easier than they can in, say, football. Baseball, they get pissed off in baseball too. But I mean, you gotta really do some really foul stuff for somebody to get that perturbed that they gotta call somebody out like that. But he man, that's this. I think he's getting off real easy with one game, personally. He's going to feel.
I was just about to ask that.
He's going to feel a lot of backlash from the gay and lesbian organizations, and he's not going to be able to live that down for a while.
I was just about to ask you, do you think that one game was the right call, or should he have been suspended for more games? So y'all both in agreement that he should have been suspended for more than one game.
I think a couple. I'm not sure how many. Maybe a few to kind of one to punishment, but two to kind of get that drilled in some of the players' head that you can't roll like that. So there's always going to be that one person that's going to have to be the example
right.
for everybody else to see. Hey, we're not going to tolerate that stuff. So I think if you would have came out and did maybe 10 games, I think that would have. And losing money, not just 10 games sitting down, but 10 games and losing a check, then I think that would have sent a stronger message to not just him, but just everybody in the NBA. You can't roll like that on the courts.
I think, and even then, even if the NBA came down and said 10 games, and then the NBA Players Association would have came back and filed a grievance, I would have even taken that, because maybe they would have knocked it down maybe to 5 games or whatever. But it's the fact that the NBA came down hard and isn't tolerating such behavior. The Players Union, of course, is being on behalf of the Players Union. They have every right to sit there and disagree with a penalty or a wrongdoing. But was it Sacramento just saying, okay, we're going to give you a 1-game suspension, or was it the league that sat there and gave it a 1-game suspension? Because that's a big difference.
No, it was the league. And what's funny about this is because of the fact that a lot of people, I guess the NBA and a lot of people in the NBA was aware that the ref was already gay.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
That's what when I first saw the one game, I'm like, okay, maybe it's because he didn't know, and the ref was, he's coming out now. Maybe Rajon didn't know about it, but talk around the radio and the sports world is that majority of the NBA players already knew that he was gay, so. That's why I wanted to get your take in regards to the punishment. If Rajon knew that, then I thought that the game should have been suspended more than the games that they gave him, a lot more than the games that they gave him. Because if it was to a point where you're trying to get under the guy's skin, I think, and it was more directed to that particular person. That's why I thought the NBA was a lot lenient in regards to his suspension. I thought it should have been a lot more. But the talk around the NBA is that Rajon was aware of the fact that he was gay.
If that's the case, then they should have hit him hard. Because now it's one thing if the NBA community knew about it and the NBA community chose to keep it on the hush, so to speak, probably didn't want to bring not that it brings that much added attention. He's just a referee. He goes home, he puts on his pants just like we do. Same as an NBA player, but they get a lot more attention than, say, the referee, unless he makes this a horrible call. But maybe they, just didn't want to add any additional attention to him. So Rondo really did it bad, a bad thing by kind of bringing that out there and shedding that to light. Maybe he would have come out at his own terms and his own time to say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do. And everybody would have been like, all right, cool, because honestly, yeah, he came out and said something, but unless I'm missing something, the sports media down here is not caring one way or the other that he's a gay referee. I'm not hearing anything talked about on the radio.
I agree with that. I think it's more just about Rajon Rondo's and his suspension. But they're not talking really about the referee itself. Because to be honest, nobody hasn't even heard of him until majority of the people probably haven't heard of him until till this.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't even hear about it until it was what happened a few days ago. So like this, I didn't even know he was even. That Rondo even knew. So, yeah, that definitely brings a different shade into light.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to jump off the subject of the NBA talk because we'll have plenty of time to talk about that during mid-season. Real quick, in regards to the NFL, just want to get your take in regards to, Earl, I know you wasn't here last week when we talked about the NFC East. So I just want to get your take on real quick on the NFC East. As you know, Philadelphia, Washington, and the Giants both won their games. So they're currently tied for the division title. So I just want to get your take on the NFC East as a whole, being I know that you are a Giants fan.
That division is Jekyll and Hyde, as best as I can put it. Who's running worse, them or the AFC South, in my opinion? I don't know, but really you have three teams. The Giants, of course, won last night against Miami, even though the Miami defense has not been as stoic as people thought they are, but it was still a win. The Redskins won, luckily, against the Chicago Bears. They let the Chicago Bears back in the game when they had them down like 21-0. And the Eagles beat the Bills, luckily, because the guy missed a field goal. So, all these teams are flawed. I don't have faith in any of them. I'm a Giants fan, so I'm going to have to roll with that. But even I'm holding my nose on that one. I don't know. You can get the Giants team that came out and played the Patriots toe-to-toe and lost only because of some bad clock management, or you can get the Giants team that came out and laid a friggin' egg to get the Washington Redskins and made the Redskins look a lot better than what they are. So it's a bad division. I would like to see my Giants win, but they have probably the toughest road to go to get there. They have to win when Carolina comes home, which I'm going to pick that one that they're going to win. They have the Vikings, and then they end up with the Eagles, and then the Redskins had Buffalo Bills, who they should win, and then two road games against the Eagles and the Cowboys. Eagles got Cardinals. I think that's probably going to be a loss. But you never know. I feel confident about none of them, and whoever wins the division is going to be out in the first round, depending on who they play. But I'll say go Giants.
I kind of figured you would say that. Well, I know me and Ace talked about this last week in extensive in regards about the NFC East and how that stands up, with the NFL. With the playoffs coming right around the corner, it's very interesting to see how these whole playoffs is going to shape up. Especially on both both conferences. It always seems to be one soap opera after another, depending on which fan sees what. But
I would like to say this, even though I got to talk about the NFC East and I talked about three teams, I'm glad, and I hope someone says to all these Dallas Cowboys fans that have visions that they'll somehow magically make the playoffs, that have several seats, sit down and be quiet because you guys are still not relevant. even when you get your chances, you shoot yourself in the foot each and every time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dallas fans is gonna have something to say about that. I'm surprised because I thought you were gonna say that about the Eagles fans. um,
Well, I save a special thing for the Eagles fans by the end of the season.
all right, all right. Ace, is there anything else you would like to add about the NFL?
Well, the NFC East sucks. Man, that's what it.
Yeah, I don't know which is like Earl said. I don't know which is worse, the NFC East or the AFC South. It's a toss up.
I could only hope. Personally, I said it here before, and I'll say it again. A part of me this giggles with all types of glee in my heart when the Redskins come out and fall short on their face. I'm no Redskin fan. I have no love or no loss. I don't lose sleep at night, whether they win or lose. So if there are Redskins fans out there that whatever hate my statement, so be it. I could care less if y'all win. I could care less if y'all lose. But I do know that when you do lose, a part of me is quite happy.
You're really you're in the lion's den when you say stuff like that. You know that, right?
But is it just for the fact that you're down in the Maryland area, not that far from the Redskins Stadium?
Man, I got no real allegiance to any. I like the Nationals. I can tolerate the Wizards. I guess because I'm a 49ers fan and we suck. Nobody has to tell me that we suck. I know we suck. I will tell you to your face, they suck. I was shocked that they beat the Bears. We suck. We lost to Cleveland. If that doesn't give you any type of indication of how bad we are, But I'm an NFC fan. NFC, football first, and then AFC with the Jets. So. No, I got no love lost at all for any NFC East participant. Just being down here, it just makes me smile a little bit when the Redskins lose. I don't hate when the Redskins win, though. So I just thought I'd put that out there.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. All right, real quick before I let you guys go. Real quick, I just want to get your take on because I know we haven't discussed this yet, but we just found out, of course, that Serena Williams won Sports Person of the Year in SI. Real quick, I just want to get your takes on Serena Williams and what you think about that, her winning.
What, over his secretariat?
You mean American Pharaoh?
Oh, that dude, yeah. That horse. I'm sorry.
Now, all right. I do have to say that has to be. I just never understood the concept of it. So I just want to get clarification. So was it the fact that it came down to Serena Williams and American Pharaoh to win that cover?
I don't know. I mean, like me personally, I don't have a problem with her winning it. I wouldn't have a problem if they would have, went. You could have went American Pharaoh. You could have went. Jordan Spieth. You could even win. Steph Curry. I mean, I think there was 3 or 4 options that they could have went, and I don't think most people would have had a problem. Maybe there's a fact because it's an African American woman on sports who almost did the whole calendar grand slam and just became one set short of winning it all. But I think that accomplishment wise, I think American Pharaoh, because it hasn't been done in such a very long time, maybe some people thought that the horse should have got the cover of it. But like I said, I wouldn't have a problem with any of them, me personally. But I could definitely understand they could have went 2 or 3 different ways, and I wouldn't have a problem with either one of them.
Yeah, what's even more interesting, not to cut you off, Al, but in the world of tennis, when you look at most tennis athletes, the great ones, they start young. They probably they become famous between the ages of let's say 16 and 19, and then they're dominant from like that time when they're like 19 to like 28, 29, and then you start to see the slippage. I don't know if it's me, but Serena is getting better as she's getting older. She's just as fast. She's getting stronger. She's more powerful. And when she's off, she's definitely off. Because when old girl beat her in the semis, she was off. She was just having a bad match. But I think it had a lot to do with Venus really putting it on her. Because she could have easily lost to Venus the round before she lost in the semifinal. But as a whole, you trying to tell me Serena, age 34, is defying all odds at tennis. And that's what makes her run so great. Because at her age, she's supposed to be falling off. She's not supposed to be getting better.
No, I agree with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of backlash. Reason why I'm saying it's because there was a lot of backlash because in comparison, like they were saying that how could American Pharaoh be even considered a contender when you're talking sports person of the year. So I guess from what I was gathering, especially on Twitter, there was some backlash in regards to Serena Williams and should have had that. Why is American Pharaoh even considered to be a nominee for that particular cover? So I like I said, I was getting the information from Twitter feeds, so I wasn't really sure what was the actual issue, so to speak.
Yeah, but I guess if the argument could be made, and I guess you're talking about sports person or sportsman, or however you want to call it, of the year, then I guess you want to think about an actual human being as opposed to a horse, per se. I mean, maybe it should have been a different category for that, but I mean, maybe you could have said the best sports moment of the year. Then
Right.
then clearly, in my opinion, American Pharaoh probably would have been that because winning the Triple Crown hasn't been done since 1977, I believe, as opposed to Serena Williams, where yes, the career, the calendar Grand Slam in women's hasn't been done in a while, but I think it's been a lot sooner for a woman winning a calendar Grand Slam than it has been a horse winning a Triple Crown.
Now that I agree with. I agree with as far as American Pharaoh being the sports moment of the year. I'll give you that. Like I said, I just saw the backlash of it, and I just was wondering, what you guys thought about it. As far as to be honest, I really don't have a problem with Serena winning. Of course, she had a great year. And no one has actually compared to do something what she has done. She's dominating the women's tennis right now, and most likely, like Adrian said, she's just getting better. So, and that's a scary thought when you have someone dominating like that and just getting better. So, it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. But it is congratulations, of course, to Serena Williams, one of the baddest in women's tennis. So.
I agree. She's gonna be a legend. Definitely a legend.
Definitely. Well, I don't have any else of sport news right now, so unless you guys has anything else that y'all want to add.
Just that golf time soon.
I'm ready to go bowling. Watch the 24 days of college football bowls.
Oh yes,
Yes.
I forgot about that. Your picks for the who's gonna win the national championship. Let's just cut to the chase. I was gonna say like who's gonna win between Alabama and I forgot the third.
Oh, I think it's Clemson, Oklahoma, Alabama, Michigan State.
Yeah. Give me your two picks to make it to the championship and who's gonna win it all.
My pick
With no debating, no art, no give me reasoning, just pick them.
I say Oklahoma and Michigan State.
Ace.
I'm curious, and who's your winner with that?
Oh yes, who's your winner? I'm sorry.
Michigan State.
Wow. Okay. I'm going Oklahoma, and I'm going Michigan State as well. And I think I'm going to go with Oklahoma, not because of the Big 12 bias, but honestly, offensively, they're tough. Just being my school, being in the Big 12, and knowing what they're capable of, if they're clicking on all cylinders and their defense displays halfway decent, I don't think there's going to be too many teams that can beat them.
I just said not to explain, and you
I'm
just gonna give me.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I just simply just said, I just give me your two teams and who's gonna win. No explanations needed, and you just go into an explanation. No, I'm just messing with you.
I was dabbing, and I was doing my version of the speaking dab.
No, I'm messing with you. I'm also going to go with. I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna pick Clemson, but I'm gonna pick Clemson. I think one of the I just don't. I believe Clemson or Alabama somehow is gonna make it to the championship game. I just call it as a hunch. But I think more Clemson than Alabama. So I'm gonna go with Clemson and. I'm going to go with Clemson and Michigan State. I am. I'm going to go with Clemson and Michigan State, and I'm going to pick Michigan State as well.
Hey, man, gotta support the brothers on Michigan State.
I know Fred is out there. Got love for him. Definitely. All the way.
The post-game interview, he was handing the trophy, and the brothers in the back with the bow.
I didn't see that.
Oh, they had the...
I'm going to have to Google that. Sorry, YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Nah, but I think this is going to be. I'm looking forward to the college. To be honest, I have to admit, now that they brought the Championship Bowl series into the mix, I have been getting more into college football. Something about the BCS was just not, I wasn't really feeling it, the concept of it, but with the playoffs in place, I find it a lot more interesting because of how it's set up. So, and that's just my opinion,
I don't think it's going to be appreciated fully until it at least jumps up to 8 teams.
I agree.
Well, that's true. But it is a start. Though.
I give that much. It's a start. But once it gets to 8, then of course those who are 9 and lower are going to be pissed until it gets to 16.
But 8 would be a more better number than 4.
I do agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Well, for everybody though, I'd like to thank y'all for tuning out to Guys Talking Sports. I'm just gonna cut it off because we're gonna get into more of talking, and it's almost that time. So for everybody, thank you again for watching Guys Talking Sports. Don't forget to subscribe on the lower right hand side. Really do appreciate it, fellas. I'll start with you, Adrian. Let us know where they can find you at.
I'm on that thing called Twitter. Sometimes I remember my handle, sometimes I don't. It's CatDaddy1963. Once again, that's CatDaddy1963 on Twitter. Feel free to, let me know who you guys choose, who you believe is going to win the College Football National Championship, and maybe we can get a Twitter poll or something going. We can discuss that in the next podcast.
That's a great idea. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Earl, where can they find you at?
Well, I guess I'm on that thing called Twitter as well. JEROSS7. On the gram, same handle as well, and you can find me on FB, aka Facebook as well.
All right, and you can always find me on Twitter as well. Instagram, same handle. I am Al Qualls. You can also you don't find me on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, but I'm gonna take that back. You can find me on Facebook. I just need to get back on Facebook, start using it a lot more. But you can always find me on Twitter. I'm always engaged on Twitter a lot more. For everybody else, please don't forget to subscribe. I really do appreciate those subscribers out there checking us out. Also, find me on Google Plus. Google Plus users, you can circle this as well. Circle me. I really appreciate it. I will follow back. For everybody else, though, catch Guys Talking Sports. We'll send the links out with the information, and you can catch us next time, next week. We'll be still talking Guys Talking Sports. We'll probably do our year review next week. Haven't really discussed when we're going to do it, but we'll probably do it then. But for now, I'd like to thank y'all for checking us out, and until next time, take care.